Hello, Patty. How are you?
Hello, not too bad. How about yourself?
Blessed by the best. Still got breath.
What's that?
Blessed by the best. We all got breath.
Hello.
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 Hi.
Shauna, welcome back.
Thank you very much.
I hope you're feeling much better.
Hello.
Hey there. All right. I see we're here at top of the hour. I'll give it one more minute here and then we can go ahead and get started. All right, well, it is 12:01. We'll go ahead and get started. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. I know we're still kind of in summer mode, so I know probably we have some folks who are off still. But we do have a number of things actually that we're going to discuss today and some really exciting things, especially around the AI functionality that we've been introducing. So we'll spend a little bit of time today actually demoing those for you. If you go out to our website, we do have many of these as recorded demos and videos, so you can go take a look at it. They're very short. Most of them are right around a minute, and we're trying to continue to add some of those out to our website, so we have those available for you to go pull up and see. So they're not so much educational materials as what you'll see today, but more just quick snippets of the functionality if you want to go show anybody in your organization what those things do. But today, as we always do, I'll run through some slides here, some live demos, so you can go and see some of that new functionality. If you have questions as we're going through this, please either raise your hand or drop something in the chat, or even feel free to jump in and ask any questions that you have. We do keep it somewhat informal, so if someone from the Make team can help me monitor the chat, that will be helpful as well. So let's go ahead and get started. Same format as what we normally do. We'll go over a couple of FAQs and questions that we've had from our last meeting. Then we'll spend a lot of time talking about our AI enablement, which you probably have seen some notifications on. We'll go into some new help functionality that we have, and then really kind of get into a couple other things there. And at the end, we have a number of slides that talk about new features that have gone in since the last time we met. We will not go into each one of those. There's too many of them, but as always, if you have questions, we do have our support email there for you. So one of the first FAQs that we had here, question is, I tried to load a workflow to a test script, but all the test steps didn't generate. And this can end up being a common issue here. And what this is you have a label that's missing from a decision. In the decision box is our little diamond here. And when you put that in there, you have to put a label on both of the arrows that are coming out of that. And if you miss that, you'll actually get a box here that says a missing decision label. And it's going to show up here in this light blue bar for you. And if you click on that, what you'll see here is this workflow info box that shows up, and it's going to direct you to exactly what needs to be changed. And so you can see in this instance, it's telling us the name of that decision, which is, do patients pre-check forms appear in the Luma dashboard? And we have the no arrow, and we've identified that. What we haven't identified our other arrow. So if that's supposed to be a yes, or there's something else that goes there, that's what's going to trigger TransIT in the creation of that test script to know that there's something there that flows back. So once you fill that in, that missing decision label goes away, and you'll be able to go run that test script all the way through and get all the steps that are needed. Another question that came in is, I tried to add a new user, but received a message that the username is in use. And this actually happens if typically it's a consultant, because a username is based off of an email address, and you have a consultant who is actively working at 2 different client sites, and they're built at client site A, and then you go and build them at client site B, and TransIT is going to show an error saying that that username is in use. Or they previously worked at another site, but nobody's inactivated them, so we're still going to get that message there. So that is not something that you'll be able to fix yourself when you go and set up these users. That will require us to go do that for you. So go ahead and send that email to support at Make Solutions. Give us the email address and that person's first and last name, and we will make sure that they get set up. And then we can always reach out to that consultant as well, make sure that they need to be activated at both sites. So next, we're going to talk about AI enablement. There's a lot that we have been doing with AI enablement over probably the last 6 months. And I know all of you probably have heard so much about AI and how it's going to save everything and save your time and all of that. We are really trying to make sure that we are very prescriptive about how we're building AI into things and try not to overpromise and underdeliver on anything with this. But we are starting to sort of build it into a number of the pieces of functionality that we have. It is not taking over everything. You do have the ability to enable or disable that AI functionality as you want. And it actually is an organizational level preference that you need to set. And each one of your leadership resources, or whoever is basically signing the contracts for TransIT, your organization, has received a notification that there is credits that we're delivering around the use of AI, but that there may be additional charges if you go above and beyond that. So we are asking each of the organizations to opt in to using AI at this point. So if you haven't turned it on, talk to whoever sort of is in charge of your TransIT contract and make sure that they're okay enabling that. The credits that we have put in there, we think are pretty generous. We haven't had anybody actually go over the pricing yet, or the credits that we've identified. And we also are basically saying for the next 3 months, let's turn it on unless you use it. And we'll then talk with each of you from an organizational standpoint to say, are you seeing a benefit? And if you are seeing a benefit, should we wrap those prices in? So I don't want to get too much into the contractual things, but we do have some discussions out there because we do want you to be able to have access to this functionality. If you do get approval to turn it on, it is an org setting preference here. You'll just need to enable that. And that does turn on a fairly lengthy list of features on the issues page, project request page, some other areas like that, the workflow diagramming. We'll go over some of that for you today. One item of note, though, is the help, and we will show that to you today. You won't get charged for that usage. So we really want you to be able to use the help feature, so that won't actually receive a charge with it. So let's take a look at that help functionality. Basically, what we're doing is building out a help desk or a level 1 help desk within TransIT that you can go to ask any sort of question about how you would do functionality within TransIT, and then have it basically spit out what you're supposed to go do. So in the past, we've done really lengthy user manuals that get out of date very quickly, difficult for us to maintain. So now we basically have a help desk or a help functionality built directly within TransIT. So we continually keep this up. And one of the cool things you can do too is if you have any sort of content that's out there, you can create your own library and link that into our help desk as well. That's something that we can certainly help you with if you get a hold of support. We won't go over that today, but if you have a robust help desk and you think it would be beneficial to have that add that into TransIT, we can do that for you as well. So what I'm going to do now is pull up TransIT, show you where that is. So I'm out here in our Mix Solutions, which is our demo environment. Let me get to the right one. I'm out here to help. And really just going to say, how can we help? And you can type in really anything, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask it actually the questions that came in as our frequently asked questions here, both of the two that we talked about. So I tried to load a workflow to a test script, but all the steps didn't generate. So natural language, just like you would ask ChatGPT, it's going to think about it for a little bit because it's running through not only the help pages, but it's looking at how TransIT is built, the functionality that we have out there to spit out an answer for us. So comes up with this. Workflow steps did not all generate in the test script. And so then it says the workflow steps did not generate. Here's what you need to go do. Open the workflow, click the missing decision label indicator, review which decision boxes need labels, add the missing labels, and then you'll be able to go see that in the preview steps. So very intuitive in terms of walking you through the steps that need to happen, and basically what you need to go do, and also tell you where you can get more information for that as well. So it's really slick, really helpful to go do that. I always encourage everybody to go out here, try this first if you are struggling with trying to get through something. If you're wondering how to go build test scripts, if you're wondering how to go add additional boxes into workflow modules, anything like that is out there, and it can really help you with this. And it's much quicker than going and sending something to support because it's all right here and sort of getting those immediate responses. Any questions about help? And that should be an icon that everybody can see out there in their production environment today. It is not something you would have to go turn on. I won't go over this. I just did a couple screenshots here. This will be in the slides when we PDF and send them out. So just sort of other examples for you to be able to go see that. So let's get into some really cool stuff here. Building with our AI upload from an Excel document. So as an example, I'm sure most of you have worked with vendors before. They provide a bunch of workflows or test scripts, training modules that are coming in Excel documents. And they may give you 50 of these and say, good luck, here's how we go and test, and you're responsible for all of that. Well, that's great, but if we want to get those into TransIT, that used to take a fair amount of work to go do. But now with our build with AI, we can basically take those materials that we have and sort of reverse engineer a test script into a workflow. And the reason we're reversing them into a workflow is now we have that visual documentation of what it is we need to be doing. And we not only are going to create a workflow, but we're also creating that test script in TransIT as well. And I won't show you, but I think we all are pretty aware of how we take a workflow, and in a couple clicks we go make that into a test script. But super quick and easy for us to essentially take those test scripts that you're getting from your vendors, or you may already have today as existing content that you just haven't put into TransIT, and we can get that in there really quickly. There are some things that we can do, or you can use ChatGPT outside of TransIT to help get those test scripts sort of in a better content, standardized, so we can pull them into TransIT even easier, and then basically get all that stuff ready to go. So what I'm going to do is come over here to our workflows, and what I want to do is go and add a workflow. Let me double check which one I'm adding. I'm actually going to add an Epic one for home infusions. If you want to add descriptions, vendor, etc., you can do that. I'm just going to put the vendor as Epic, so I have that, but I'll leave that in my project of current state, and I'll save that. And I have this build with AI button up here on my toolbar. So if I click on that, and I don't have to do anything else to it from this screen, because this is a new test script that I want to go upload. I'm just going to go and browse for my specific file. So that's my Beacon Home Infusions. So you can see it's loading this in here. If you have used this before, I think you may have known that we used to have to paste all this into the instructions. Used to just be images that we could upload. Now we can take Excel documents as well. And this is really cool. So I don't have to give it instructions. Normally you would have to say, I want you to go take this Excel document, format it, build a diagram of it. Don't have to do that anymore. Basically just click apply with AI, and it's going to start building this for us. And this used to be something, if you were to go take this and turn it into a workflow manually, this could be hours of work, essentially. You have to read the Excel document, build it, and then create each individual module along the way. And what it's doing now is it's reading that Excel document, and I'll show you what that looks like while we're waiting for this to run. I'll pull this over here. And this is what the document looks like today. So nicely formatted. It has the position, vendor, application, section, action, and outcomes. So it's reading through this, and it's going and building that workflow to match what this test script is. And that's going to go give us that applicable workflow at the end. So it does take a little while for this to run, but it's something you can go click on it. You can go to other tabs. You just need to make sure that you leave this particular tab open. So if I needed to go open up another tab, I can go do that as well. A common question we get, because we do have sort of that $25 limit around credits that we're giving each organization, is how much does it cost essentially to go do this? And that's why we're basically giving everybody sort of 3 months to go figure this out. So we can say, well, go try it, go kick the tires, put some in here, see how this goes. But essentially it's costing probably pennies. And just from some of the work that we've done, it's about 25 cents to run one of these workflows in here. But if you think that it used to take 2 or 3 hours for somebody to go do it, I mean, that's a significant time savings. And that would be a lot of workflows that would need to get imported for you to sort of run up against that $25 credit amount. So this is ready to go. You can tell it's AI update finished. So if I click reload updated workflow, I click that, here is my workflow that is created. And it's pretty amazing how it's done this. And it's built it into the swim lanes of each of the positions that's out there. And it's created the steps along the way. So you can see the BCNRN has the majority of the steps. And you can kind of see how it runs through these workflows here. If you're not happy with the arrows and things like that, it is possible to go sort of move things around to make sure it all makes sense. If you have other steps that need to get added in there, we can do that. But it's very, very cool how it does this. And this is the best part, is if I click on one of these, it's giving me modules as well. And so modules are the specific steps inside of that box here that creates reusable content for us. So now we're creating standardized ways of printing prescriptions from a released orders report. And so the next time we go do this, and the next workflow we create, this is going to be standard content in there. So now we're all speaking the same language, we're using the same modules when we go and create it. So now our test scripts get faster to create, they get more standardized, people start to understand the language of what that looks like. So each one of these boxes, because of sort of this red rust color, has modules behind it. And what we can then do is say, you know what, create all candidate modules. So I'm going to go create all those modules there for us. And now they've all been created. So in the course of essentially 3 minutes, we took this Excel document from Epic around how to test for home infusions and created a workflow for us. And now we can visually show the team what's happening. They can modify this, they can localize it for facilities or your organization, and then be ready to go with it. And then, as you know, with workflows, you could say, you know what, I want to add that as an attachment. So I just know where that came from. So if anybody asks how that came about, I can go do that. And we could even say approved on PRB on 8/21, and we can have all that content out here. And so it allows us to have this location where everything is stored, everything stays out for us. So that what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to scripts. And this is nothing new, but I still love to continue to show this through here. What we're going to do is do our home infusions. Essentially what I'm doing is now creating our test script off of that workflow. And so I've created the framework of our test script, and then I'm going to go add our workflow. I'm just going to say that's Baptist Health here, and that was our Beacon Home Infusions. It's mapping each of the positions in that swim lane to the positions that we have in our organization. I hit save. It pulls in all of our steps. It pulls it in by position. It's got the vendor, it has the application. Only thing we have to do now here is add in our patient name. I'm going to say, that's me. We would never do that in a org, but we will have that anyway. And come back, and our script is ready to go. Everything's filled in, header details are there. It tells us everything about this plan, and it tells us the modules and the workflows that has been done to generate this test script. So what, 5 minutes to go create this? It's incredible how quickly that can happen and how accurate and complete they look. So It is super cool to be able to do that. And you have a vendor that throws 50 test scripts at you in an Excel document. And you're like, this is going to take days to put in there, and you just don't want to do it. You could probably spend an hour and get all that stuff in there. It's very, very cool. I ran through a lot there. Does anybody have questions about sort of what that build with AI is or how to use that? Happy to go into more detail about how any of that would work. Great. So let me go back to our slides here. Next one is generating test scripts with AI. So this is a really cool feature as well. So if you have issues that you're logging in the TransIT database, you're most likely at the end of logging those issues, you're going through and resolving them, you're putting in a resolution to them. If you're putting in a resolution, that means you probably need to verify that that fix has actually done what it was supposed to do. So you want to go validate it. We have the ability now for TransIT to create a functional test script based on you resolving those issues. So let me go in there and kind of show you what that looks like. So under our issues, we have all sorts of issues that are logged here. The one I want to do is basically taking a look at our different view modes that we have in a calendar. And we can look at calendars here on a day, week, month, year, or an agenda view. This has been resolved. We wanted to make sure that we can go test this. So with nothing else in here other than a description and a resolution, I basically want to say, let's generate a test script with AI here. Again, you don't really have to put in any sort of instructions for it. It knows what it needs to do. I'm actually going to add just one additional step here for this, which is for all the steps, I just want to have the TransIT user as position. And I click generate a test script. What this is going to do is it's going to go through, it's actually reading our entire database here. So it's looking through all the other issues that we have out here. It's looking through all the content that has ever been built in TransIT for this organization and saying, okay, I'm going to go figure out how to go build a functional test script off of this so we can say, we need to go test this particular issue. And so it's going through and doing that and building this out. Now, would you need to go do this for every particular new orderable or lab that you add in? Potentially not, depends on how strict your organization is. But if you have change control weekly and you have particular items that you're putting in, this is a fantastic way to reduce the burden of what analysts have to do in terms of documentation, because they have to go test it anyway. So you might as well have TransIT build the test script for you, have the analyst verify that it works, and then you have that sort of paper trail that the work has actually been done. So it's a great way to go do that, take some of that work off of the analyst in terms of building the test scripts. One other really cool thing that you could do is if you are taking code upgrades for anything that's cloud-based, is you could put in the new features and functionality that comes out from that vendor, put them in as issues, and then basically say, I want to generate a test script with this. And TransIT is going to read through your database if you already have any sort of functional test scripts out there for that vendor, and go and tell you what you should test based on those particular new code that's going in from that vendor. So hopefully that made sense, but if your vendor is telling you what's been fixed in a code, you can go put those in as issues, and then TransIT will spit out what needs to be tested for it. So really cool thing as well, just to be able to figure out what should be tested. So our AI is really helping direct you to what you need to be testing. So it's still kind of generating this through here, taking a little bit of time, but we'll give this another minute here, see how this looks. we don't get in the next minute, we can always come back to this too. Just make sure that we have a chance to look at it for us.
Sorry,
we
Brian,
also
on that, the one additional thing that I would say is you pointed out that it would save the analyst times, but it also lets you offload the work. So if your analysts are the one testing now because they're the only ones who know the steps, if you put in these kind of test scripts, you could have SMEs test, and then that saves IT money as well.
Thank you.
Yep.
And we do have the ability, or sorry, we do have a video of this as well. I've got the hyperlink here, and when we do this, you'll be able to see this. So we have a hyperlink here of being able to go create this. So it's about probably no more than 45 seconds, but you can see how that's created as well. So unfortunately, this is still going. So we'll give this a second here, see how this looks. If not, I can always kick it off again for us, and we can go take a look at it. Let me move on to plan security enhancements. So if you're using plans, one of the requests we've had is to be able to give some additional control over what users can do within each of those individual rows. So we now have the ability from a plan perspective to give somebody full control, contributor, or read-only access from a user or a tester position. So I can show you how that's, oh, look at this. Put a pin in that. We'll come back to that in a second. So our build with AI from a issue perspective has come through. So this is what we call a draft view at this point. So it's created a calendar view mode for this, regression test for it. And it's basically saying, here are some warnings and assumptions that I've taken into consideration in order to go create this test script. So it's looked at basically the visuals out there. It's looked at the roles, how that should actually all be done. And it's created a test script for us. So we can take a look at the test script, see if it all makes sense. And if it does make sense, what we can do is basically just say, build the functional test script. And it's giving us a script name, description for it, and where it should go. And we'll go ahead and build that script. And our functional test script for our calendar view modes testing issue is ready to go. And it basically is saying for every section, we're going to test every specific way that this calendar can work. The default weekly mode, view mode transitions, everything like that. So it knows enough based on our functional test script and how TransIT should work in order to go build this test script for us. And as you build content for Epic, Cerner, Infor, Workday, it will be able to do this for you as well for any issues that you log around any applications that you have within your system. So a huge time saver, and it does create really a consistency around making sure all the analysts are testing the exact same way. And then I'll show you one last thing here on issue 461. As you get those done, if you go back into that issue, you can actually see that that script is located out there. And you see it 3 times because we've demoed it multiple times out of this, so that's why that shows up 3 times. But you can then pop open that functional test script and see from that issue what that functional test script looks like, and then if somebody has validated it and verified that they all work. Any questions about that? Sorry, it's kind of jumping around a little bit there. Let's switch back to plans now. I was showing you the plans security, or I was getting ready to jump into that. So plans security. If we go into plans, I've got my plan right here, TransIT implementation content development plan. If you right click on any of your plans, you can go to edit details. And so there are some new fields here. First one is called users access, and the other is called testers access. And you have some options on the type of access that a user will have. So full obviously is read, write capabilities. You can delete rows. You can do anything with a plan. Contributor means you can only write to that plan. And of course, read only is just being able to view it. So you can set either a user access or a tester access for that. And then once you go into the plan itself is where you define what those roles have access to within the plan. So in this one, we'll right click on our header columns here and go to customize columns. And from within customize columns, any of our particular columns here, we have a new field called restrict. And if you click on that restrict, it's going to take the preferences or the restrictions that you set on that previous window that I was showing you. So if you say, I only want the collect workflows checkbox to be read-only for anybody, you can go set it to that. And in terms of use cases, this might be important if you want to set, let's say, you have some workflow decisions that you want to go get made, and you want people to go sign off that they've reviewed the decisions. You wouldn't want them going and changing the workflow decisions that have been made, and you just want them signing off on the checkbox that they've reviewed it. So you could lock down those workflow decision boxes to read only, and then give them contributor access to the checkbox to say that they've gone and reviewed it. It really just helps keep your plans clean. It keeps people from potentially overwriting content that you've put out there while still giving them access to the plan or being able to contribute to it. So I know there are more security settings to where you can completely hide plans, which sometimes that's overkill for what you want to do, but this would allow you to give more nuanced control into a plan so somebody can view certain fields, but still just contribute to other fields. Let's see, and then taking a look at our featured tip. So if you are using projects, which I hope everybody's starting to use projects now, it used to be when you were in projects, you had to sort of go through each of the individual fields and go find them and open them up. And we now have a new project content page, which is really slick. So I'll show you that here. So if you go into any of your projects that are out there, I'll go into our TransIT testing implementation. Used to be you would go and you'd have a drop down and there'd be lots of different areas. You'd go into your individual plans, timelines, workflows. Instead, we have this project content box, and this pops open here now and kind of is your overview and your launching point for anything that you need to get to. So if you wanted to get to your risks, issues, to-do lists, everything shows up right here. So it's a much easier and quicker way to get into what you want to do. So if you are interested in, hey, what are my risks on this plan? You can pop into there and it's going to show you those particular risks. Likewise, you can get to two of the timelines that are there and it would open those up. So just much easier, much simpler to navigate within the projects that you have out there and any of the content that is linked to that project. And we're continuing to put lots of updates into projects. We're really trying to make it a full PPM tool.
Hey, Brian,
I know there's work. Yeah.
Leo put in the chat that, can you just show her how to get to the project content window again?
Oh, yeah. Yep. So we're in our, let me just come back here to projects. So when you pick a project, it'll be up here where you have next to the orange box is where project content is. Hopefully you can see that, Leo. I know sometimes I make, how about that?
And then Brian, I would say your slide also showed the new way that we're testing. So we're not sure if it's going to get into production this weekend or not, but on your slide, it showed the picture. So I don't know if you want to quickly go to demo, you have it highlighted there. You'll be able to get to that project content window from the actual projects page, sorry.
Yep, sorry, I added that in there. Hopefully nobody is upset that I did that, but I thought it was a cool way to do it. So it should be there probably soon for people. So so if you have projects that are out here, we now have a new way. Like Patty said, you definitely don't have it today. You might have it by early next week. So exact same content window, but you just don't have to go into the project now. So if you just wanted to get into your Epic implementation here, you can click on that and it's going to be that same window. So it's saving you essentially a click from getting anywhere. And there's some more items here. I'm not going to get too much into this, but there's some more items that'll come into this view as well to make it more of a dashboard. And this is one of the first things, is that project content window there. And as always, make sure you're part of our newsletter. We do put everything into the newsletter. So if you are on that, you'll see really a list of a lot of things that we've covered today in there. That's really where we make our first announcements. And of course, always we have our support for things. And we do have education videos. We're working to get those updated, especially with a lot of the new content that's out there. So it's always changing. So we're always trying to make sure get our videos more up to date. In terms of other updates, I am not going through this because development is always busy and our team is always busy testing all of this. So lots of things around projects. Like I said, we're really trying to get into the PPM space a lot more and really add additional functionality around that. So it's a full-fledged tool there for you. Project requests as well. Lots of things under plans. Like I said, I'm not going to go through them all, but team has been super busy. We will get these slides here put together in a PDF so you can go view it all and understand it. But anybody who's an admin should have already probably received communication on this and or seen it in our newsletters as well. So we try and make sure we keep all that up to date, and so you can see everything that's coming out for you. So yeah, all of the Build with AI stuff is a lot of the things we wanted to cover today. It's a super cool functionality. I use it constantly with our clients, use it on a lot of the stuff that we do internally. So we're really trying to build this and make sure it's everything that we want, that we know that our clients want. We do really think this is becoming huge time savers and the ROI that everybody's really looking forward to from a testing perspective, from a management perspective, just so we can make sure that we're removing as much of the burden from a testing, management, a workflow development perspective as we can. So we have some time here. If anybody has questions, we can certainly get into it. It can either be about things that I've reviewed, or if there are other questions that the people just have in general about how they're using TransIT, more than happy to ask questions about or answer questions that anybody may have. All right. Well, if nobody has questions, we will make sure that we get this put together, sent out so you can see it. But as always, we appreciate your feedback, your support, participation in these meetings, and us being able to continue to grow the tool and make sure it's meeting everybody's needs. So appreciate it and have a good rest of today and going into the weekend. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.